Hi, True Crime Grapevine fans. It's me, Patty Lee. If you are a return viewer, one of the select few, hi, how you doing? Thanks for coming back. Go ahead and please click the like button. Hit the notification bell. It's all free. If you're new here, let me just tell you what the True Crime Grapevine is all about. We are a channel. I don't know why I'm saying we. I am the host, Patty Lee. I am your armchair dyslexic detective, and I watch all the true crime on YouTube channels and podcasts and the news, anything about what's currently being talked about in true crime, and I listen to it all week or every 10 days. I distill it for you, and then I let you know what everything is happening so that you can be up on all the true crime news without having to do all the listening and watching and reading. So, if you like all the true crime for the past week in one place, and you have an hour or two to listen to the whole entire episode while you're cleaning, or maybe have insomnia and are trying to fall asleep, I am help for that. I will keep you busy until you fall asleep, or while you clean, or while you drive. Hopefully I don't make you fall asleep while you drive. So that's what this channel is all about. Hopefully you hit that subscribe button and notification bell to let you know when I upload. I usually upload once a week, and I'm trying to do at least a live if a lot of crime is happening, which it is. So this is our 31st, or my 31st episode. It is covering October 3rd through October 11th of 2022. So in this episode, let me just give you a little what's happening. We have the Excelsior Springs, maybe serial killer? We don't know, but we know at least one victim because she escaped this past weekend, well, on Friday. I'll tell you all about that. We have a really sad case out of Savannah, Georgia about a missing 20-month-old, and it looks to fall into the category that we've seen in the past. Unfortunately, we'll tell you all about that. We have, I'm going to review the two cases that I covered on the live update, which was the Stockton, California serial killer, and the family. They were saying it was called the Singh family, but I believe it's Dheri, D-H-E-R-I. They immigrated here from India, and both names have been used for the family. But I'll tell you all about their kidnapping and, unfortunately, their unaliving that happened in Meredith County, California. And then we have updates. Do we have updates, folks? Today, on Tuesday, October 11th, we had a breaking update on the Jolisa Fuentes case. She was the woman missing in Selma, California. She went missing the day after Kylie Rodney went missing, and we have an update on her case as well. And then there's an update on the Cassie Carley. She was the missing mom who was unalived by, it seems, to all intent purposes, and the suspect who has been arrested for her unaliving, Marcus Spilivano. It happened in Florida. She was found in Alabama, and he was arrested when he ran in Tennessee. So it was a multi-state jurisdictional mess. We have an update on her autopsy that we've been waiting for 6 months. And there's a Debbie Collier, the missing woman from Athens, Georgia. Or missing. She was missing, I'm sorry. She was found unalived. So they're trying to solve what happened to her. So we have updates on that. There's updates on the Vallow Daybell, of course. There's updates, always something happening in that case. And then there's two trials that we're in the middle of. The Pike County Massacre in Pike County, Ohio. And then in Washtenaw, I believe, Washington, there's a man who ran into a Christmas parade last November. He is on trial in Wisconsin He is representing himself pro se, and I'll tell you all about that hot mess. So those are our cases. It's really an even dozen. It's going to take a while to get through. Sit back, relax. I hopefully will also be able to edit this into sections so that if you only want to listen to one specific case, you can. So let's get going. It's still sober October, even though I was very tempted to have a drink today because of all the true crime news that suddenly hit the fan. I'm just having some apple cider mixed with some mixer, any lemon lime soda that you have, just to give it a little spritz. Ooh, tasty. If you've seen me before, I love sweet things. You could have it with, obviously, a non-sugary soda, and maybe you would like to. I always suggest, if you're not having a sober October, yeah, throw some Fireball in there. Make it a little hot. Give it a little heat. Warm you up. Even though we're in a little bit of heat where I am right now, but it's going to get cold again. At the end of Sober October, we'll be back to having a signature cocktail with every episode. All right, case 1. This is the Excelsior Springs, Missouri case. We don't know the name of the victim. Let me just tell you. Saturday, I started seeing an update from Hidden True Crime. Lauren Matthias, she usually does, she started, Hidden True Crime started, she started it with her husband as a dinner table conversation with her husband, John Matthias, who holds a doctor. He's Dr. Matthias of criminal psychology. And they started talking about the Daybell case. Anyways, I saw her post all of a sudden about something happening in Excelsior Springs, Missouri. And I was like, what? And it was crazy. So at first, she actually got an interview with the woman whose mother let in the lady, who the woman lives on the street. She was at work. Her mother was babysitting her child. Can you believe this? Someone comes rushing up to your door, screaming they need help, saying they've been kidnapped and raped. I mean, the whole 9 yards. The woman had like a dog collar on with a lock. Her mother described it as a bad dog collar, so I don't know if it had one of those like chains that you put like on dogs that need to be disciplined so that if they pull on it too hard it digs into their neck. But she had on a metal dog collar with a lock on it, and it was restricting her breathing, we find out. Apparently she was dressed in latex lingerie, like half dressed, and marks on her, like abused, screaming that she got away, he was gonna come and kill her, and she claimed that her friends didn't make it, and he's gonna come back and find me, he's gonna come and kill me. So the grandma who's babysitting this 2-year-old thinks about it. She had already run up to somebody else's house and the person didn't want to let her in because what was going on. The person later on said they thought maybe it was a Halloween thing, like, because it's so close, and wasn't sure. And if you listen to true crime, you might think, is this like a way to get into my house? I mean, the grandma let her in, thank goodness, called the police. The police showed up. She said that she was a 22-year-old woman. She had been taken from Prospect Street in Kansas City. Now, if you Google that on a map, I did. I'll try to put it in here, or have my editor put it in right here. But it is 42 minutes from Prospect Street in Kansas City to this town of Excelsior Springs, Missouri. So she said this man was named Timothy. He picked her up on Prospect Street, took her to his house, locked her in a room in his basement, chained her up, handcuffed her. He would come and beat her, whip her repeatedly. I didn't give a trigger warning, sorry. R-A-P-E, her, repeatedly, frequently. She said she had been there since the beginning of September. Okay, now we know this is just the beginning of October, but So at least a month she had been kept there. So the police have now confirmed, I do not believe they held a press conference, but put out a message like on social media and put it to the press that this 22-year-old woman, that they have the police report now, what she claims, where she was picked up, that she was found wearing latex lingerie, that she's, her claims, and they said it appears her claims are accurate because they had to take off a metal collar that with a lock, it was restricting her breathing. The EMTs immediately did that. They transported her to the hospital. She was listed in stable condition, and then I hear that she is back at home with her family. Now, they're not confirming, but they're not disconfirming. They say right now they're not confirming the existence of any other victims. The house is boarded up. They were there over the weekend and through yesterday, I believe, through Monday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, they were in the house doing things. They had a bloodhound was seen, like a cadaver dog, was seen. A big blue barrel was seen being taken out of the basement. And if you know anything about big blue barrels, you know there's never anything good found in them if there's any sort of killer situation. So we don't know. They're not saying there's any other victims, but they were in the house for 3 days. There was a room in the basement. They did confirm that, yes, they found, like, basically everything she said, they found confirmation of that, and that they're continuing the investigation. So, Prospect Street in Kansas City. I can't help but wonder if this isn't one of those situations where somebody tries to purchase, a worker in that area, and then he just felt like, hey, I don't know if you've watched the Times Square serial killer on Netflix. Very disturbing, but if you're into true crime. I found it's a 6 episode, I think. It's gritty, it's interesting. It tells you more about culture and what was happening during the times. It's very interesting, which I've said, like 5 times now. But that man preyed on that type of population. We know in the Stockton case that we're going to cover, that person seems to be preying on, we used to say homeless. Apparently the lingo is moving towards the word unhoused. I don't know how that makes it any better. Maybe it makes people, I don't know if it respects them. Like they do have homes that they belong to, but they're just not in a house right now. Because people do love people who, as you will hear when we talk about that case, they aren't unloved people without families. So maybe unhoused is just a way to say that they're choosing to live in tents or outside. Irregardless, very vulnerable populations. It seems as if this is going to be one of that. The perpetrator, we don't like to give a lot of names. Oh, by the way, she left on Friday morning right after he left to take his 6-year-old son to school. He has a son in 1st grade. A woman on TikTok actually said while I was in a school line, because he was taken in on they found it for like some sort of other violation, but he was in his truck. And he had multiple bench warrants. I don't know how people can just go to court and be told to come back and don't, but he had warrants for his arrest in other counties in the area. So they immediately took him into custody before they were checking out the whole situation, which that now he is charged with, kidnapping, the RAPE charge, assault and battery, keeping somebody against their will, blah, 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 you name it, he's got it. But and I guess he fought for custody and one of his son, Lauren Matthias, on Hidden True Crime. Go check out that YouTube channel podcast. She also got a hold of somebody who went to high school with, his name is, I'm going to say it once and not say it a lot, Timothy Haslett Jr. And his picture, he's like heavily bearded, he looks unkempt, and this woman said, it was a shock to everybody who knew him in high school. In high school, he was, she went to actually the neighboring high school. So, but she said she knew him throughout high school. He was always like super well dressed. In fact, known for being a good dresser. And he was very talkative. And so she said everybody in their hometown and his little group is like thinking he must have had some sort of mental break. They knew that the divorce that he had was difficult and that he fought for custody of his son and he won, but maybe that had something to do with it. We also know for the past month he had a captive in the basement, and I don't know if he soundproofed that room, but my God, can you imagine what the poor child maybe heard? I don't know. So very odd, very strange. We will hear more about this case, I am sure. So will we hear about more victims? What was in the blue barrel? It seems like they were in that house for a very long time. It seems like the woman was claiming her friends didn't make it. If she was, working in that industry and knew that, did he pick up a couple girls? We don't know. We will find out more, I am sure. So that was our case 1, the Excelsior Springs. We don't know what he is. Captor / perhaps a serial killer. All right. Please go ahead and hit that like button if you are enjoying my storytelling. That's really awful to say. These are true crime, not stories. And they're a little horrific. I know I always say, what can we learn from this? Again, what if they were working girls and did go together? Because I always say go with a group. It would be difficult if there were more of them that somehow we don't know what happened and how this occurred. But I don't know what we can learn from this. And one could say, well, don't be a sex worker. But that isn't really realistic in all of society. Since time immemorial, as far as we know from written history, that is like, they call it the oldest profession for a reason. So, all the neighbors said they didn't even know. And they said he was really quiet and he wasn't friendly, which the lady that knew him in high school thought that was really strange. And that's why they're saying he must have had some mental breakdown. But, maybe you don't know people in high school as well as you think you do. I don't know, but it's sad.